This episode of FilmRiot is brought to you by Domain.com. Today on FilmRiot, we get a little trippy.
I wouldn't do it.
Do what?
Popping expired Flintstone vitamins. Last time I did that, I was tripping balls. Wouldn't do it.
I was just looking at it.
Wouldn't do it.
It's fine.
What's wrong with him?
Expired Flintstone vitamins.
Ah, Poppin' Betty's.
Logo. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes mystery out of the effects techniques. Go to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley, and I have been really fascinated for a while now by IR or infrared, which is when you're taking images with film or a sensor that is sensitive and able to capture infrared light. And of course, infrared light is light outside of the visible spectrum and just beyond red. There's a whole lot more to it, including filters and special processes. Red even made a possible modification to the Red Epic camera to be able to record IR, which Vincent Laforet did a test shoot with, and you can check that out in the notes below. But I decided to mess around with the color of my image to see what sort of manipulation I could do to create a similar and interesting effect, all in post-production. So let's do that. Now, what I ended up with doesn't fully look like IR, but an interesting mix of IR and Lomochrome type of a look. Of course, this is a very specific and gimmicky look that would only be very useful in specific circumstances, but I kind of love it. I could see me using this to stylize a dream sequence, music video, or some kind of commercial project. It definitely creates a fantasy vibe, flipping all the colors to give us something otherworldly looking, and getting this look is actually pretty simple. First, I grab my footage, then inside my editor, I grab Magic Bullet Looks. Of course, you could do this with any three-way color corrector or built-in color tools. This is just the easiest way to do it and show it to you. First, with the four-way color tool. This gives me controls for the shadow, mids, highlights, and then the master. And here I'm going to grab my shadows and crank them way up, then grab my highlights and take them way down. Doing this is inverting our image, though not completely. To do it completely, we would be pushing the shadows all the way to the top and the highlights all the way to the bottom. But that isn't what we want. We just want to push it to the edge and stop. Then I take my mids up or down a bit depending on the shot. Then we work on the saturation. First, we're going to drop the master and mids to 0, the highlights to around 8 or 10, and then move the shadow saturation up to somewhere between 120 and 140, which will be desaturating them since everything is now reversed. Next, I'm going to add curves, pull everything right down to the bottom, and then adjust the mid areas. This is just to preference, small and subtle changes though. And now you can see that we have flipped all of our colors to something closer to their complementary colors. So his warm skin tones have now gone blue, the green grass and the leaves have now gone purple, and so on. After that, I'm adding another instance of four-way color. I'm using this one to adjust my exposure more for the scene, dialing it in to where I want. Then I'll add diffusion. That'll give me that glow feel you see in most IR footage. And finally, one instance of colorista. This one I'm using to work on specific colors, like desaturating the warmer tones a bit and maybe pulling the purples and blue up a bit. Again, this is all to preference. Now we have this crazy look with Josh sort of looking like a Smurf, so we're gonna leave looks and then drop in an invert plugin like this one, then change the channel to in-phase chrominance. This is gonna shift some of the colors around to give more variation and bring slight color back to the skin tone of our actor. Sort of. We need to tweak that still. So I will add Colorista 3, grab the orange, pull it more toward red, and then desaturate. Then I'll grab the yellows, pull that more toward orange, and desaturate that as well, and I have my final look. But that's it, a crazy simple technique with a ton of possibilities and variations. Of course, your final result is gonna depend on how you shot it. Was it in direct light? Was it in shadow, over or underexposed? So do a lot of tests, give it a shot, go crazy, get creative with it, and send me what you came up with on Twitter, because sharing is caring. Domain.com is where I go to register all my domains. Now they have .club, which is universal and understood globally. It's perfect for business, film, startup, or blog of any kind. Anything on the internet's all about community and collaboration, which is why .club is perfect. And plus, it's super inexpensive at only $9.99.
That would be Domain.com's superhero name.
What?
Super inexpensive.
Well, what would be their costume?
A giant D. Just a giant right on his chest.
Okay. Plus, they're super inexpensive. Only $9.99 here with tons of great options available.
Logo.
Okay. And we can make that even more delicious. Nope, not delicious. Don't want to say that right now. Add the coupon code FilmRiot and you get 25% off your order. So when you think domain names, think domain.com.
And giant D's.
Nope, no, you don't.
Logo.
Now we're going to take a quick look at controlling exterior light for interior scenes like this right here. Thing is, this is being shot in the middle of a bright and sunny day, and getting a result like this is incredibly easy. All we need to do is use something like a black sheet, cardboard, or anything else that is solid that can block out the sun from coming in our window and any other windows around our actor. Then you light the interior to match more of what you would get at night, and using something like a lamp in the background really helps sell that effect. This is a super helpful technique if you need to do interior night shoots but don't want to stay up all night shooting. I did this when we shot Tell. That way I didn't have an exhausted and grumpy crew on my hands every single day. Then we can take a look at a daytime shot like this. If you have a shot like this where the window is only slightly blown out and maybe looking a bit ugly, you can blow out that window entirely and get rid of that clipped grossness by taking some diffusion or even a white sheet just outside the window to blow it all out. In this specific case, I actually like the version without the diffusion better, but I have used this to save an otherwise ugly shot many times. Or maybe you want to see outside that window. Something that you could do is bring down the intensity of that outside light, which there are two ways you can do this. First is by bringing up the intensity of the interior lighting to match the exterior levels. Once there, you can adjust the exposure so that you are getting what you want between the inside and outside. I did this by putting two 1K LED panels just off left frame and then a bounce board just off right frame to fill in those shadows and make it feel more like the sunlight bouncing around the house. The second way would be by putting some ND on your windows. The problem with that is it can get very expensive to get rolls of ND, but it is a very effective way to handle that situation.
Logo.
And we're done here. As always, the Twitter's right here, and I'll see you guys next time when I have to cut my son's hair to discover the birthmark of the evil one.